today's video, we're going to be sharing the June COMC numbers. This is a monthly series that we do basically the first or second day of every single month. I like to try and get this posted. This was a quarterly series that we did for January, February, March, and then April, May, and now June. We've turned this into a monthly series kind of based upon the popularity of the video and some feedback and suggestions and that I've heard from some of you guys watching. So let's go ahead and do just a bit of a recap, share where we're at. Well, 2023, we started selling on COMC or flipping cards on COMC January 13th. Now, I want to be very clear. Still to this date, we have never shipped anything and listed our own cards. That still is in the cards or in the projected plan of what I'd like to get to. But right now, we're just 100% buying cards and then flipping them on COMC. So everything kind of stays within the portal. And I don't have those cards sent to myself. There's no shipping logistics that I'm dealing with. As you guys see on the screen here, the numbers, January, we basically sold $20 worth of cards. We made about $7 or $8 worth of net profit. In May, sold $422 worth of cards, and that was our record month at that point, $138 worth of profit. What did we look like in June? June, 137 total cards sold, gross profit $674. And the net profit, that'd be the dollars we could put in our pocket if we so chose, $238 net profit. All the net profit, in case this is the first time you're checking out one of these videos, we're just completely reinvesting back into additional inventory. The goal here is to build the store as quickly as we possibly can, and really starting from $20. And at this point, we've got thousands of dollars worth of cards or $1,000 worth of cards of total inventory, but I'll share that here in just one moment. Let's take a look at the year-to-date numbers. We've sold a total of 366 cards year-to-date, gross sales $1,804.97, and the net profit $578.90. So essentially $500 worth of net profit in the entire year. And if you think about that, that doesn't sound like a lot of money, but think about a card that you could buy for $500, $600. Get a nice Mickey Mantle for that, right? Nice mid-grade Mickey Mantle, PSA 4, PSA 5. So when we start really thinking of it in those terms, and I talk about the idea of using the hobby to make money so that I can buy the types of cards that I want for my hobby, this is why I'm doing this project. Plus, it's really fun, and I absolutely enjoy doing these sort of things. Our rate of return is 32.1%. That is our net profit margin. Essentially, for every dollar that I spend, I essentially make about 32% of profit on top of that. So pretty good numbers when you think of any small business. And I realize when we're talking small business on Main Street, they need to sell thousands of dollars worth of inventory or tens of thousands of dollars worth of inventory. So we're only selling at this point $1,800 worth of inventory over a 5-month period of time. Do I think we'll continue to scale? Yes, that is the goal. We will continue to scale to where at some point in the near future, we will sell at least $1,000 in one single month. That is the goal, and we'll continue to build this until we start doing those sort of things. All right, useful stats that I believe is absolutely critical for you guys to understand. The average sold item price, $4.90. Sell-through rate, 15.5 days. Essentially, if I buy a card, on average, it sits in my store for 15 days, so about 2 weeks before that sells. That is critical to understand if you want to do these. If you want to do this type of a side hustle, you don't want to buy a bunch of inventory that never sells or takes years to sell. If you've done that, you've purchased the card at the wrong price, you've listed it for way too much, you're way too proud, and you're dead set to get a specific number. You want to try and buy the right type of inventory, and that you want to have a sell-through rate as low as possible. Quite honestly, if you could have a 1-day sell-through rate, that would be amazing. As we've moved through this year, the 360 cards that we've sold essentially sat in the store on average for about 15.5 days. What are the focuses for June, or what were the focuses for June now that we're in July? Quarterbacks. modern day rookie card quarterbacks. We're getting ready to go into the NFL season. This is the part of the market that's continuing to build a little bit of steam. The Joe Burrows, the Justin Fields, Mac Jones, Kenny Pickett, Jalen Hurts, all of those guys, and Trevor Lawrence and a handful of others. Those are the cards that are the hottest, generally speaking, if you think of a group of cards in the marketplace. So I've invested 40% of my time really trying to pick these types of cards up, and 40% of my sales came from modern NFL rookie cards. All of them, generally speaking, are quarterbacks. There's a few not Kenny Pickett's, George Pickens. There might be a Jamar Chase or two in there, just if I found the right deal. But generally, the vast majority of those are the young quarterback crop. The second group that I sold the most in was vintage. That's vintage across football, baseball, and basketball. Guys like Nolan Ryan continue to sell well. Hank Aaron continue to sell well. Rookie cards continue to sell well. But I've also started playing a little bit more in the non-Hall of Famers. Prior months, really about the only guys that I focused on were Pete Rose. I can't even really think of anybody else that I was focused on outside of the Hall of Famers. I started expanding that this specific month or this past month, and the Pete Roses, Thurman Munson's, Elston Howard's, the card here on the screen that you guys are seeing. So some of those other really key players from generations past, I've started picking those cards up, and I've started seeing that they do move generally as well as most of the Hall of Famers. So pretty excited about that, because that's a part of the marketplace that I'll continue to try and tap into in the upcoming months. The final group that I sold the most in the month of June are junk wax rookie cards. And I know there's people out there, you hate the term junk wax. I don't care. No offense, I don't. It's the junk wax era. We all think of it as the junk wax era. I've heard it referred to as the boom era, or I don't know what people are trying to change it. It's junk wax. It really is junk wax. It's highly overproduced. That said, it's very popular. Ken Griffey Jr. rookie cards are extremely popular. The 86, 88 Fleer basketball rookie cards are very popular. The 89 score football set, extremely popular. The 89 Topps traded football rookie cards, very popular. I've even sold, as you can see, Gary Payton 1990 Fleer cards, which is like the epitome of junk wax in my opinion. This still remains to be a very popular segment. Jose Canseco, Mark McGuire would probably be the two non-Hall of Famers that I've spent the most time focused on. Guys like Rafi Palmeiro doesn't seem to sell well, so I really don't focus on his. Sammy Sosa doesn't sell well, so I don't focus on his cards. So generally your rookie card Hall of Famers from this junk wax era, about 30% of my sales in the month of June came from these types of cards. The Jose Canseco card, I think I've also flipped that Donruss card that's very, infamous in the card collecting world. I think I probably sold 4 or 5 of those in the month, so that's also a very popular card. All right, let's talk about current inventory. Now, this number may not be 100% correct because I did sell a couple cards this morning, but those will fall into July's numbers. But generally speaking, I finished the month with about 196 cards in my inventory or in my store. The total list price for those 196 cards was $985. The estimated profit margin, if I sold it for those prices, if you guys aren't very familiar with COMC, there are offer scenarios that people can put out there. So if I sold them at the list price, I would make about a 38% estimated profit margin. And then my average unsold price per card is $5. And that's a sweet spot for me. People sell 20 and 30 and 40 and 50 and $100 cards on a regular basis. I'm finding the marketplace that I like to play the most in, and I think that I found a nice spot in, is that $5 marketplace. So I'm continuously focused on those $5 cards. Here's an example of some of those cards. Now, we'll talk about grading here in a moment, but those are some examples of graded cards that I have available. But you're seeing, again, a lot of young quarterbacks. You're seeing Nolan Ryan. You're seeing Hall of Famers, vintage Hall of Famers, base cards, rookie cards. It doesn't necessarily matter. I'm taking a few gambles. I'm starting to pull a little bit more of the autograph space into my store. They're not selling all that well, so I haven't necessarily found a great niche there or figured all that out necessarily. the prices to try and acquire those cards is also a little bit more elevated than I'm comfortable with. And so I like this David Robinson autograph card that's on the screen. You probably overpaid for it, but it's the type of card that I would be totally fine pulling into either my PC or moving over into eBay and potentially seeing if we can move it on eBay at a certain point in time. But I probably wouldn't do that until we come into the basketball season if that card still sits in the inventory. But you guys had asked to kind of have a basic idea of what I focus on. I wanted to share some examples. Obviously, these aren't every single cards that I purchased this month or sold this month. I want to talk about the graded side. I think the biggest untapped market from a COMC perspective in the future is going to be graded cards. Probably the least populous selection of cards is graded cards. The graded cards that are on COMC generally right now are way overpriced when you compare them to eBay prices. And so when you do find good deals, they are snapped up real quick. They're snapped up by collectors, they're snapped up by flippers, and then they're reposted for higher prices. I do think that there's a huge opportunity here. And so one of the things that I may look at the National is to see if I can find a good chunk of quality graded cards at really deep discount prices, types of cards that, dealers just want to get rid of. PSA 8 Hall of Fame rookie cards, even if it's junk wax era, I may look to try and pick up some of that and then move it over to COMC or have it shipped over to COMC because there is a very active marketplace. The problem is what I'm currently seeing, generally speaking, on the graded card space is just overpriced. You can still find the prices if you're a collector. You can generally find those prices better at eBay. And so you're just better off shopping eBay if all you do is graded cards. However, there are really good deals out there. I have seen some really cheap CSG cards posted recently, and now there's some CSG and COMC partnerships, and so that's probably why people are grading with CSG and then looking to get those posted for sale. I picked up a handful of cards really cheap. I've sold one or two of them, and then I've got a couple that just don't seem to be selling, even though the prices are much, much cheaper than the PSA prices, even eBay PSA prices. So not sure that the CSG marketplace is a market that I'll continue to focus on, but if the prices are good enough, I might even buy a few of them for my PC and look to move them into my PC because there's some really cool cards out there for better prices in a CSG slab. But generally, if it's PSA or SGC, you can move them if they are priced competitive with eBay. And in some scenarios, you can find every once in a while, about once or twice a month, I'll see a grouping of cards that'll get posted that are under eBay comps, and I'll try and snap up as many of those as I can to try and go ahead and move them. And some of those might even be really low grades. They might be like PSA 4s, 5s, and 6s of like 1970s Hall of Famers, and you're picking them up for $5, turning around and you're flipping them for $7, $8, $9, $10. And so there's some opportunities out there, but I wanted to just take a moment and kind of explain that. I still think the biggest market opportunity will be graded cards in the future on COMC, but right now it's kind of a train wreck. It's really not the place to go buy graded cards 90% of the time. All right, I think that's everything I've got for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoy this format. As always, please leave feedback. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. If you do like the format or if there's any other type of data that you guys would like to see, let me know. We'll look to try and get that incorporated in a future video. As always, guys, chat with you guys in the next one.